Yesterday you were asked to do a sheet that looks a lot like this, except it asked you to investigate 1/4. I've been asking you to keep these in your folder, which is why I have my folder out as well. First thing I want to do is make sure that you have your investigation of 1/2 close by. We're going to go over your investigation for 1/4, and at this point, what I have in red marker, you need to be sure this is on your paper as well. If you can't put it in exactly the same spot, get it as close as you can to where I have it. And some things you will need to change what you have if you don't have it correct. So investigate 1/4. We know that 1 is the part and 4 is the whole. I had made a mistake there and written halves on the bottom, hadn't I? But we're investigating 1/4. Another name for 1/4 is quarters. And when you take the top number divided by, so the smaller number is on the inside, top number divided by the bottom number, so the 4 is the divisor, you get the decimal equivalent. So if you want to write 1/4 as a decimal, you have to write decimal to 5. In the decimal equivalent for the fraction, only rarely will you have the fraction numbers show up in the decimal. Because remember, decimal places are tenths and hundredths. Here we're dealing with fourths. So we have to change those pieces a lot to be able to talk about how many there would be out of 100. If you think about money, though, this makes sense. We use this idea almost every day without saying, oh, no, that doesn't work. How do we use it? Well, it takes 4 quarters to make a whole dollar, right? 4 quarters make $1. If you only have 1 quarter, you have 25 cents. 25 hundredths of a dollar. The clocks. The part that I want you to make sure that you have is what I have put here in red. So from your 12 to your 6, from your 3 to your 9, and number those. There's 1 piece that size, 2 pieces that size, 3 pieces that size, and 4 pieces that size. One of those 4 pieces is a quarter. Do you have to go from the 12 to the 6? Certainly not. You could divide it from the 10 to the 4. Where is half again? Well, that would be from the 7 to the 1. How do I know it's half? 5, 10, 15 minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes. These pieces are equal sizes. Parts that you must have, you don't have to have your 1/4 of your clock divided like this. But you must show that 1/4 of 60 minutes, if you take one of the 4 slices from 60 total minutes, there are 15 minutes in that slice. What if you take 3 quarters? Well, there's 15 minutes in one, plus 15 more, plus 15 more. So 15 plus 15 is 30, plus 15 more gives you 45 minutes. You definitely shouldn't have 3/4 shaded in on a clock. You were only asked to show 1/4. But you should have that 6 times. What does 1/4 mean? Well, if I follow the pattern that I used to explain what 1/2 meant, I have an amount divided into 4 sections, 2, 3, 4. Only one of 4 sections is being used. So this shows one of the 4 pieces. This would show one of 4 sections. How do I show it on the number line? Well, this I did to show you you could get 1/4 at 9 different places on just this much of the number line. Now I'm going to go through and show you how I got that. So to split into fourths, first of all, I have to find one whole. So between 11 and 12 is one whole. Between them, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal sections. We talked about that with 1/2. But I don't want to look at 8 equal sections. I need 4 equal sections. Well, that's not so hard. If you take them 2 sections at a time, between here I have 1 section. Between here I have a second section that's exactly the same size. Here is a third section that's the same size as those. And here is the 4th section that is exactly the same size. So in order to show fourths on the number line, you had to show 2 of those 1/8 pieces. So if you look over here where I already have it marked, each one of my markings is showing 2 of the smaller pieces. It doesn't matter where you begin your 1/4, as long as it adds up to 2 of those 1/8 pieces. Or as long as if you put your fourths together, 4 of them would equal 1 whole. I made my story with food probably a bit more complicated than yours was. Just looking at the colors though, you should be able to see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 sections that are the same size, and one of those 4 sections has red. So 1/4 of the M&Ms, because you know they're dots, so I called them M&Ms. 1/4 of the M&Ms are red. I could also look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 total. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those 20 are red. And 5/20 still shows 1/4. 1 out of every 4 M&Ms is red. 5 out of all 20 are red, but 1 out of every 4 M&Ms is red. See how we're playing with these, right? It makes you really think, doesn't it? It does not matter which fractions you have on here. I chose 3 fractions that I had already established to be other ways of showing 1/4, to be equivalent to 1/4. I do want you to write on here what I have in red, equals 1/4, equals 1/4, equals 1/4, and then this part will be different for you, so I'll use a purple because yours will not be exactly the same as mine if you came up with different fractions. Let me start with the easiest ones here. In order to get 1/4, 1 times 2 is 2. 4 times 2 is 8. In order to get 5/20 and show that it's equal to 1/4, 1 times 5 is 5. Whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom, so 4 times 5 is 20. What about to 15? Well, it's nice because 1/4, I know 1 times 15 equals 15. Am I sure 4 times 15 equals 60? Well, if I'm not sure, I'll figure it out. 15 times 4, 0, 2, 6. Indeed, 4 times 15 gives me the 60. So I do want you to show for yourself when I multiply 1/4, top and bottom times the same number, I come up with those equivalent fractions. In the chart I had given you, if y is 1 x has to be 4. That's the only way that y is 1/4 the size of x. If x is 8, y has to be 2. That's the only way. I take my 8 and divide it into 4 sections and take one of those. That would be 2. What about 20? If I have 20 M&Ms, how many of those 20 M&Ms are in 1/4? That would be 5. If you look over here, 1/4, 2/8, 5/20. So I'm multiplying my 1 times a number. If I take 4 times the same number, that will get me both sides. If I start with 28, 4 times what gave me 28? That was a 7. What if I have 10? X has to be 4 times as large, so x would have to be 40. So to go from your x to your y, you would be saying x times 4 to equal y. If you want to go backwards, yeah, we're saying 1/4 of x, but really we're saying y divided by 4 will equal x. Check your answers. Whatever you have for y, wait a minute, y times 4. I said this entire part wrong. It's x divided by 4 to get y, or y times 4 to get x. So 1 times 4 is 4. 1/4 of 4 is 1. 2 times 4 is 8. 1/4 of 8 is 2. 5 times 4 is 20. 1/4 of 20 is 5. 7 times 4 is 28. 1/4 of 28 is 7. 10 times 4 is 40. 1/4 of 40 is 10. So you can go back through and check the answers that you have. These next 3 I had given you. So go over your paper, take a look at it, and what I'm going to do now is you are going to need to investigate 2/4. But what I want you to do, I've given you in red the parts that you need. So you will need to make sure that you copy this over. I'm not going to explain this today. Make sure though that you have all of the information. In case you missed it, this should be a 2/4, not a 1/4. That's a typo. Make sure that you think through. I didn't give you quite as much information down here. Copy this. It should help you. Wrestle through it. We'll go over our investigation of 2/4 tomorrow.